Good morning, afternoon, or evening. My name is Shannon, and today we are actually going to be redoing my bookshelves because I saw Steph finally upload her video where she made her shelves in her new apartment, and it inspired me to redo my shelves because with having a TBR as big as mine, I feel like I don't pay enough attention to my shelves, and I'd like to make it a little less organized and a little bit more chaotic. I honestly don't really know why, but I decided I'm going to, and I'm going to take you guys along with me. So I figured we'd start section by section because I have like 5 different sections of books in this room. So I have this section right here, which is my fantasy slash mystery thriller, that kind of vibe shelves. And then I have my romance and lit fic shelves. I have this shelf of some of my favorite romance books. And then I have this section, which is probably my favorite section in my whole library because these are basically all my favorite books ever. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do all of this yet, but I thought it would be a good start by taking off all the books. Here's the deal. I just pulled all the books out and I didn't put them in an organized stack on the floor, which was my mistake because this is what my floor looks like right now. So I'm not 100% sure how I want to play this. I think I want to separate it by genres and like authors and that kind of stuff, because before I just had all my thriller and fantasy books combined, and I think that was not the best idea. I like to be able to tell, and I also think I'm gonna separate it from like YA and stuff like that because I think it's nice to be able to know when you're going into a YA book. I really need to stop buying books. I think instead of just sitting and organizing them into said categories, I'm just going to start putting them on the shelves and we'll go from there. So here's the rundown. I feel honestly kind of paralyzed by the mess and the choices and everything that's currently all over my floor. It's making me feel very scatterbrained, and I think I'm going to turn the camera off and do these shelves so I can take my sweet time on them. And when I start the romance and lit fic section, I'll turn the camera back on. I need to clean this, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. Hey y'all, it is significantly later in the day. It is just about 8:35 and I'm finally done this shelf. I took a break to take a nap, if I'm being honest, and I also took a break to cook and eat dinner with my husband. But then I came back, I reorganized the shelves. I literally love how this shelf turned out. I think I'm still going to do a little bit of tweaking, but down at the bottom is where it got like really intricate and kind of like Jenga, because the shelves get taller in between each one, and so I was able to do some really fun layering. But I'll show you guys that when it's all done. It is now time to do these shelves, and I definitely don't think I'm going to take all of the books out of the shelves like I did with that one, because that was a cluster and it hurt my head. But I will start separating them from lit fic and romance, and we'll see where things go. Just now realizing I own a lot more literary fiction books than I thought. It could also be because all of my favorite romance books are all over here. I can't remember what this series is called. I think it's the Brutal Birthright series, but so good. I literally read Brutal Prince so I could get to this one. It's so good. It is a mafia romance, and Miko kidnaps Nessa, and Nessa's a ballerina. She just happens to be the daughter of a mafia boss, and she starts creating a ballet while in captivity, and he ends up falling for her, and it's such a good book. I highly recommend. So when I first got back into reading, I already was aware of the 50 Shades of Grey series because I watched the movies, and while the actual sex part is the least interesting, cringiest thing ever, the actual story, like the actual plot, you could literally take away all of the inappropriateness in these books, and the story is actually very interesting. But when I first got these, I unintentionally bought all of the collector's editions with painted edges, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, the last book in the series is signed. I still haven't read it yet though, because I know it's going to be a hard thing to read, just because I don't want to read all the cringy parts. Because when I rewatch the movies now, I skip all that and I just watch the interesting plot points. But I think this is called the Dark Olympus series. I read the first one because it was a Hades and Persephone retelling, and I literally love Persephone. I actually have a necklace with Persephone on it, and I really wanted to see it, how it would turn out, and I have the rest, and I really need to get to them because I heard they're really good. But I don't know. I've been in a very fluffy romance phase. Okay. Now that the romance side is done, time to deal with this mess. able to clear a whole shelf. I'm very proud of myself in that respect. It has been just about an hour since I started doing this again, and I'm going to take a quick break and eat a piece of cheesecake that I made, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. Okay, so I'm back, and I don't really know what to do because my next shelves are kind of my favorite shelves. I honestly, I'm not being productive at all. So I think I'm going to call it a night, and I will start again early tomorrow morning. Good morning, y'all. It is the next day. I reorganized the shelves I already went through just a little bit just to make them look more disorganized, but I'm just now starting on my like ultimate fantasy shelf, so all the series I really want to get to will be on here. All of my favorite series will be on here, and so on and so forth. So I started reorganizing the Sarah J Maas section because I'm trying to not only make it look more cluttered, but I want it to make more space, because there is a constant issue that I come across in this library where I do not have enough space for new books, and I want space. It's just as simple as that. So I'm gonna get to work on this. I think I may have a whole section or a whole shelf just for trilogies, because I've noticed that trilogies tend to go in the same color scheme. Like, it's white, blue, like purplish, and then we have black, red, blue, and then red, green, yellow. They almost always contain both a red and blue aspect. The main problem I'm running into is the fact that a lot of these trilogies I actually want to put on my book cart because I want to read them like now. Would you believe me if I said I have like 7 books that I've half read and just got bored or wasn't feeling it or something? If I put them all together, it would probably be ridiculous. The Cruel Prince was actually really good, but the amount of whiplash I got from it made me want to take a break from it. This is the Lunar Chronicles. I read the first one and I didn't know it was a actual series. I thought it was an interconnected series, and so I got super upset because this ending is very unfinished. I thought it was the end, so I was like, I'm not gonna read this anymore, I'm over it. But I got the rest of the series so that I can finish it. So this is everything on my TBR cart right now. I know that my actual TBR, like my physical TBR, is much larger than all of this, but these are all the books that I am most looking forward to reading, that I will probably be reading in the next couple weeks. I mean, obviously not all of these, but. And I also wanted to add this because when I saw my grandmother on Thanksgiving, she was actually reading this book, and I've had it on my shelves for forever, and I asked her how it was, and she said she was actually really enjoying it despite the fact that it's a relatively odd premise. and it made me want to read it sooner. I only have my cube storage and that shelf right there, and the cube storage is pretty full, but that is pretty much empty. So I'm thinking maybe I'll move some of the books I haven't read onto this shelf. I removed most of the series from my cube storage and I put them on the ground here, and I kind of want to use this section exclusively for books I either want to display or books that I feel are perfect. I need to sort through these all and see what I want to put in that shelf and what I want to keep here. I love the Maple Hills series, but I don't know that I want to put it in here, so off to the side. I haven't read any of these yet. Let's see. I started the Hoops series, but I haven't started this series by Kennedy Ryan. Have only read 2.5 of the Bridgerton books. I think I may put it in there so I can stack things. I still need to put my Kindle annotations on here, so I'll put this to the side, and these are going back into my TBR cart. I really enjoyed the Eden series, and I'm very excited for the next book to come out, or the last books to come out in the series, but I did not love all of them, so I think I'm going to put them in that. I will be keeping the Twisted series in here because almost all of these were really close to 5 stars for me. 100% keeping this series here. I love these books and I love the UK covers as well. I just 100% displaying these. The same goes for the Magnolia Parks series. You guys already know my feelings on these. And then the traditionally published covers for it. I legitimately love this series so much, but I want to be able to display all the covers, and I can with how small the cubes are. I definitely love this series. I think it will go in here just because I don't have any other really dark romance series in here. Okay, I think that's all for now here. Now let's do with that shelf, and then we're done, and I can give you guys a tour. That marks the end of me reorganizing my shelves. I'm going to take you guys through a very quick, brief tour of the new shelves. They're not that different, but I do like that I've made more space and that it doesn't, you can tell someone lives here. Anyhow, I will show you guys now. This is the fantasy / thriller shelf. The adult fantasy is mostly on this side right until the 4th shelf. That's when it turns into thrillers. And then the YA fantasy, just ignore the leaves. I moved the string lights in order to pull books on and off the shelves easier. I really like how I tilted things and bounced them off of one another. I really like how it looks, and this is the last section where there's any fantasy. And then, like I said, this is the little thriller section. I literally love this bottom left hand corner. I think it looks so cool, but that's just my opinion. I was also able to clear out all of the cube storage for books there and put them in the shelves, so that cleared up even more space. Then we have the romance and lit fic shelves. It also includes historical fiction because I kind of include that with literary fiction in my head, but This side is completely romance, and then again you can see that I bounce them off of one another, and I literally love it. And there's still a little bit of color coding going on, but not too much. And I was able to clear up that whole shelf in the bottom right hand corner. You can't see it because my chair is covering it, but I really like how much space I was able to create for myself. And then on this side we have all of my literary fiction books, and again with the balancing and the color coding, it just looks much more lived in. And then this last shelf for the lit fic is mostly classics, but the rest of it is just literary fiction. Now let's go onto this shelf. So this is kind of overflow, kind of favorite series. This was originally supposed to be a display area for my favorite books, but then I got the cube storage to deal with that. So it's not too filled right now. I couldn't really balance them off of one another because I simply didn't have the books to do it. But I do really like how it looks, and I also have this little picture from when I was really little. That's my older sister, and that's me. Okay, then onto the fantasy shelf. This is my favorite fantasy shelves and series that I really want to get to. So I have my collector's edition of ACOTAR, and then the ACOTAR series, Crescent City series, the original Throne of Glass covers, the new Throne of Glass covers, and then they have both of the Barnes & Noble exclusive paperbacks of Crescent City. And then down here I just added a couple more series. I said I wanted to do a trilogy shelf, but most of my trilogies are books that I want to read right now, which is why they're on my TBR cart. This is the cart, in case you were wondering what I have upcoming for what I want to read. And then we are on to my cube storage. Now, I just got that Archer's Voice collector's edition, and I really wanted to display it, so I did. Then we have some of my 5-star reads. The Magnolia Park series and the traditionally published paperbacks are behind the Daisy Hates the Great Undoing cover. Then I have some more of my 5-star reads, Binding and Keeping 13, literally one of my favorite books of all time. The Inheritance Game series with the collector's edition, and my Twisted Love series, and the Never After series. Obviously, it's not too much different from what it was before, but I really am happy with how they look right now, and just the aesthetic they give me is so much more homier and cozy, and I love it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All of my social media is linked down below for you guys, and make sure to turn on the notification bell so you guys can get notified right when I post a new video. I hope you all are having an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!